Welcome to TownHall Overwatch, your weekly podcast for all your news, esports, and more. Hello, everyone, and welcome here to episode number 12 of TownHall Overwatch. I'm your host, Solid Jake, and this week we have Golden Boy as our special guest, and Spo here once again. Ask Joshy is at the glorious event known as E3, so we cannot join us here today. And, we're going to be doing an interview with Golden Boy. We're going to be talking about Jeff Kaplan's post on the forums, which is basically discussing all of the upcoming features for Overwatch that they're currently working on. Then we're going to talk about the patch notes, the balance patch that hit this week, the first balance patch of the live game, and then all of your esports coverage. But before we get there, Golden Boy, welcome, my friend.
Yeah, man, it's thank you so much for asking me. I've been really chomping at the bit to do anything Overwatch for quite some time now. So this is cool. And yeah, I mean, for those of you guys who may not know who I am, if you come from the Blizzard community of Blizzard of games, because I never really casted any Blizzard games before. I'm a professional esports commentator of many years. I've done games like Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield, Gears of War, a lot of console stuff if you're not catching the trend here. But I've also done a lot of other things as well. I recently just came back from E3. I was hosting EA Play, where we did the Battlefield 1 reveal, which was pretty dope. That game is sick.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. And yeah, I've done a variety of things in the esports industry, worked with the people who do a lot of Blizzard games as well. So, it's I'm just excited to just be involved in some way, shape, or form.
Well, yeah, man, this is the first Blizzard product to be on both console and PC. And of course, it is a shooter. So right up your alley.
Right up my alley.
Yeah, Spo, what's up, man? What's new?
Console gamer, dance game. I'm messing. I don't know, just nothing much. Just another normal week, I guess. Except for there's a couple interesting things though that we'll probably get to later in the cast, but I don't really have. I don't have any interesting and inspiring stories this week. It's kind of a shame, honestly. I didn't get to see Warcraft today. I have to see it tomorrow, so
I haven't seen that yet.
Not that I'd spoil or anything, but certainly, I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. So
if I'll say this, if you're a Warcraft fan, the movie is phenomenal. If you've never played a Warcraft game, you're gonna be like, "This is the nerdiest shit I've ever seen in my life."
I have a devout level 20 dwarf hunter who's just waiting for me. And the only reason why I selected Dwarf Hunter is because in the cinematic, the first cinematic from WoW, saw your boy walking up the mountain
with the bear,
and then out with the bear, and I was like, I want that. I want a bear or a puma, one or the other. Bear was available.
Yeah, can you have a broken tooth, man? That was the dream.
Puma there is a puma. Can you have a puma in WoW now?
I think you probably can. There's a lot of creatures in WoW. There's a lot, but back then you couldn't. You definitely couldn't. The struggle of lack of pumas in World of Warcraft.
It's honestly a problem that Blizzard needs to address right away.
Is that like Life of Pi? Life of Puma?
I'll be honest though, I saw the Warcraft
next movie.
I saw the movie this past weekend, and as someone who grew up playing Warcraft games for a very long time, like Warcraft, I'm a nerd that probably played over a year of actual World of Warcraft. It's a problem. It was really fun. It was really fun. I loved it. I really will watch that movie again and again and again, and just look for the subtle details and the little kind of Easter eggs they put in the movie throughout, because I guarantee you there's tons of them. So it's really fun in that regard. But the big news for me, I guess, is this past weekend I did my first ever Overwatch cast. Joshy and I cast one of the Gosu Cups, and it was really fun. Unlike you, Golden Boy, I don't have an FPS background. My background's more with Blizzard games in general. Like Heroes of the Storm is where I started my commentary career, and I found it so insanely refreshing. It's quite similar to Heroes in the whole sense that it has compositions and there's ultimates, and those ultimates have timers, and that resource is like a cost. And so I actually found that doing play-by-play was it came very naturally, but actually spectating and observing and knowing where to look and all of that and the flow, that was a challenge for me. But it's
Yeah, that's actually I sat there and watched the Esports Arena Agents Rising event, which by the way, still don't know why it was called Agents Rising, but I mess with it. So I don't know if foul language is allowed in the podcast, so I'm just gonna keep it PG because if anyone watches my stream knows that I'm rather not PG.
it's appreciated.
Yeah. So in any case, though, yeah, like I don't know. One of the things that really stood out to me was this game is hard as hell to spectate. Like it is something, and I'm not saying like the people who were doing it, because I think they did a phenomenal job for like what they had available to them. But I really do hope that Blizzard looks at a couple of those events and also the events that are going on pretty much every day now and think like, hey, how can we improve this? Or they bring in casters who like know what they're looking for. Because I have like a laundry list of things that I think would improve that. Like the number one thing, a mini map. Just give us a mini map. You know what I mean? Like that would be super helpful. I know it's not built into the game's UI, but damn, a mini map would be pretty dope because you can at least tell, hey, this tracer is coming around the flank or this Genji's going somewhere. It doesn't have to be a 3D mini map. It could just be a 2D mini map with basic information. But like just the more information that can be available to you, the better, in my opinion.
And they did say in the post, we're going to get to a bit later in the show, that they have a lot of observer features they're working on. So we'll talk about that a bit more. But one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about, Golden Boy, obviously you have a background in console shooters, and Overwatch is Blizzard's first title that came out at launch as both console and on PC. And you said you've been playing it on both platforms. And do you feel that like just as a console player, like my brother plays on console, I haven't played it myself, but I can't imagine a hero like Genji or Tracer being very easy to play with a controller.
Well, it's funny. I was telling Spo where you were getting ready for the stream. So on console, the Instapix. It's actually, I feel like it's worse on console because there's no text communication. And although you have voice communication, not a lot of people use it, mostly because the technology for your microphone is just very, very unnecessary in comparison to like the 360 where it's just like plug and speak. This one you have to have like a puck and it has to go into the controller. For the PS4 you have to have like a USB adapter, and it's just a little much, right? So most people don't talk, and the Instapicks are Genji, Genji, Hanzo, Widowmaker, and Tracer. Those are like instantly chosen. The second you load into a game, it is probably the most annoying thing. I have become a tank support main player because
out of necessity.
Out of necessity, because your boy doesn't like to lose any games. So I had to step it up. But then what happens? So you will see more tanks than you would supports. So now I'm a really good Mercy player, right? Like, that kind of just popped up out of nowhere.
Wow.
It's unfortunate. But to your question about, those characters, I think it's a common misconception that people have, and not necessarily you, but just people in general, that, like we can't aim. And we're not bad at aiming, like we actually can kind of nail it. So I think it's slower, 100%. But you still see them being equally as effective. But in the case of the people who insta-pick, they are about as useless as a burning trash can. So this is it certainly is a lesson to those people who, if you are playing Overwatch on console, you may burn in hell. Because I do not like you.
I know that Torbjorn has an insanely high win rate on console as well.
I did see that.
But he also has a high win rate on PC as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There too. He has like was it a 60% win rate?
Probably that sounds about right.
But you're right. I mean, Torbjorn certainly is a character that you'll see a lot. If you're talking about supports, you'll never see a Zenyatta. You'll usually see a Mercy or a Lucio. Those are always the one that's picked more so. Zenyatta is really hard to use on console. Limited mobility. Well, just limited mobility, and really you have to aim and be really accurate with Zenyatta shots. So people would just opt not to use him.
He's like a sniper without a scope in a lot of ways. Like,
So is Winston really good on console?
That's who I main, but I made him on PC before I made him on console.
that's cool.
But yeah, Winston's Bay. He's Bay, 100% Bay. Love it.
I love my ape as well. I'm trying to find these stats. I had read stats basically that were the breakdowns as to how many sales there had been for PC versus console. And I was really shocked, considering this is a Blizzard title, to read that only 18% of the sales were on PC, and there was 40-some% on PS4, and then the rest was on Xbox. Unfortunately, I can't find the source, and I also can't say that source was official. But regardless, we know that the console sales are strong. I talk to people all the time about the game, especially my buddies that I grew up with, and they're all playing it on Xbox One. They're all playing it on PS4, and there is no crossover, which I think is probably the healthiest thing for the game right now. Maybe it would make more sense to have crossover now that Xbox One.
I found it, by the way. I found the article.
Oh, you did?
PC Games N. I'll put it into the chat for you.
Thanks, man.
But here, it says, the quote, so the original story, it may have been updated, but the original story was that UK retail sales charts, Overwatch debuted at number 1 this week across all platforms with a split of 47% for PS4, 36% for Xbox One, and 18% for PC. But that's UK sales charts.
Still.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. That's
still impressive.
Yeah. And I guess the other big news regarding sales, since we're on the topic, is Blizzard just confirmed that there have been 10 million activated accounts on the game. So that means they've made at least, $40 million on this game, if I'm not terrible at math. And then there's, of course, the Origins Edition. The console price is probably $60. Origins Edition is $60, and there's in-game microtransactions for the loot boxes and Collector's Edition. So they are definitely seeing success with this title, to say the least.
Yeah.
That's one happy Winston.
That's one happy Winston.
I think it's interesting, though, because, if you think about how this game was marketed, it was really pushed toward PC players. And there's no doubt in my mind, and this was the other part that we were talking about before the show went live. I want to know, which we'll probably never know, what is the peak active for across all platforms, or maybe just peak active for consoles and versus PC. Because I feel like PC is more active than console. Anecdotally, from playing and doing my thing, I have a lot of Halo and Call of Duty people on my friends list on Xbox Live, and I don't see them playing Overwatch as much anymore as they did in the first week. They kind of all reverted back to their comfort games, while I see more and more people playing PC. Of course, that could just be the times I'm looking at them. Maybe they are playing more. I just don't know. But I do feel like I have ran into this, the same people a couple times as well. So, again, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the long haul the PC lasts a lot longer than the console does.
I agree with you on that, and I would say that's a big part of that might be because that Blizzard games traditionally have been PC games for the most part. I know D3 was on console as well, but
after the fact, though, not even initial launch.
Yeah, that's actually true. And I would say the same thing. I would say the reverse is true for something like Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty is bigger on console than it is on PC. It's on both, but the audience is bigger on console.
By far,
right.
Yeah, not even. It's also the same for Street Fighter. I mean, not many people buy Street Fighter for the PC, right? It's a pretty uncommon thing. But the one thing that's interesting about the sales is they did do some unique promotions. Like PS4, I believe, had the Widowmaker animated short, and then one of the other animated shorts was the one that was actually on Xbox. And I think those animated shorts, which made it to the front page of Reddit, got tons of publicity, then eventually made it into theaters, probably help boost those console sales quite a bit because, of course, there's those in-client advertisements. Obviously, Xbox One has Overwatch advertisements in the client, and then you watch these animated shorts, and it's whoa, this is like Pixar. And I think that's actually some of the most brilliant advertising they've done for the game is those actual shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. And another thing that kind of pops into my head too is the release window of Overwatch, right? Um, Overwatch was the big release of last month, and without a doubt, it garnered the most attention. They were free and clear, so there was nothing coming out that was really going to challenge them. Maybe Battleborn, but like that was kind of like, I don't
Eh,
want to say DOA, but it certainly you know, didn't do as well on console as they would imagine. And just from my perspective, if I had a choice of where I would have played a game like Battleborn, I would have played it on PC before console because the console experience was just terrible. It was like 30 FPS. It felt really sluggish. While on PC, I'm going 60 and beyond, right? Overwatch though feels exactly the same. So the
yeah.
experience that you have on console is equal to the experience you're having on PC as far as from a visual fidelity standpoint.
Hmm.
Funny enough, though, I had written off console Overwatch at PAX East
Oh wow.
because so my friends at Xbox gave me a tour of the booth and then were like, "Hey, you want to play Overwatch? It's awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, I played Overwatch on PC." They were like, "Oh, you're gonna love it on console, man. It's great." I was like, "All right, dope. Let me go ahead, pick up the sticks, and get going." So it sucked. It was terrible.
Oh
Like
no.
it was so laggy, so choppy. But then like I did it like I thought back to it and I was like, wait a minute. Like all freaking conventions, Microsoft have me playing on like 65-foot monitors or TVs. They were not monitors at that point. It's just a freaking TV.
Yeah.
It felt like 65 feet. It was massive. It was this huge TV that they had me playing on. I can only imagine the response time on those TVs were abysmal because I was playing. I'm like, dude, I could tell that this was a console game made by a PC developer. Like the same way that PC players can tell that when a PC game is made by a console developer, we can also tell the same
Right.
thing.
Of course.
And even then, like, it still has a couple of those features, but knowing that Treyarch got involved in the aim process for the controllers was actually pretty cool. I don't know how much they did. I don't know if that was just marketing buzz speak, but it certainly does feel better.
I know they worked with the COD team, especially early on for that stuff, because I mean, obviously, there's a lot of harmony with Activision Blizzard, being the same parent. So
Yeah. Uh, it's just one of those things that I think is just very, very funny because we play games at conventions all the time. And you guys, from a PC perspective, and anyone who went to the Overwatch booth got an incredible experience. They were playing on awesome PCs with monitors with incredible
yeah,
response
yeah,
times. Like the
144
quality
hertz.
was
Yeah,
there.
it was great.
And I'm playing on a giant Samsung, like 45-inch TV with my boys standing right next to me. And we're just like, this feels terrible. Like using stock Xbox One controllers. It wasn't fun.
Uh,
It was not fun.
well, I'm glad it's obviously those concerns have been remedied and it feels good on the actual launch. I mean, the sales prove it, and we'll see if the player base sticks around like you mentioned. I think one of the big strengths of Overwatch is I don't know that they're really going to do DLC. I think they're going to like pay for a DLC rather, and that's something that the average console gamer isn't used to. You guys are used to buying map packs. You guys are used to buying all these things, and they don't plan on selling them. They plan on just selling
Yeah.
the loot boxes. So they're gonna
Actually,
release.
that's new. That is something we're getting as well. Sorry to cut you
No,
off.
that's fine.
So Halo, Call of Duty, and Gears of War 4 as well. Rainbow Six is doing something a little different, but still very similar. The age of the map pack
It's over.
is dying.
Well, that's amazing. That's so good for
Yeah.
console gaming in general because that was always one of my gripes with it.
Oh yeah, it's dead in the water. Like I think Halo 5 really did a good job of just telling people if you give them more crap to purchase, they'll buy it anyway, and then you just give them the maps for free and no one complains.
Yeah.
And then it was almost as if like it was an epiphany. It was like something that no one would thought would be real and possible, but yet here we are getting free maps now, and now we can say the term free maps. That's insane.
Free
That just
maps.
what a
Sounds
time
like
to be alive.
heresy.
What a time. What a time.
Well, we do have some other cool facts about Overwatch that did happen this past week. Sure, we have 10 million active accounts now worldwide, which is very cool. But we also, for the first time in 4 years, Overwatch has overtaken League of Legends in Korea PC Bang. So that's like basically computer cafes where people go to play games. It's been dominated by League of Legends to a massive extent, like I don't know, probably like a 15% gap at least with the next games, not even close. I mean, you look at it right now. Overwatch is at 29.21%. Yes, it's in Korean. I can't read it, but I know that's Overwatch. League of Legends at 28.80%, and then another shooter only at
Sudden
9%,
attack.
not even close.
Sudden attack, just so
Yeah.
you know. The crossfire of Korea.
Oh man, Crossfire,
Great game.
which is the Counter-Strike of China.
Yeah. Which is obviously the Call of Duty of Europe. Hey, oh, God,
Nailed
they're
it.
going to kill me. They're gonna kill me. Yes. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a really
that's
big deal.
big, right? I don't know much about the Korean PC ban culture, so I'll let you guys kind of.
Well, I guess the whole question right now, and I'm actually curious how Spo feels because Spo's been around, all the different esports like me. Do you think that they can hold on to this? Like League has been dominant, and sure they just made that patch in League where it's not solo queue or it is solo queue or something.
Are you talking about the dynamic queue?
Yeah, what they changed something about the queue in League, which is turning a lot of people away from the game. And I'm not going to try to comment on that because I just know people are going to Heroes from League right now because of something that changed. I do not play League myself, so. But do you actually think that it's realistic that Overwatch can maintain a number one spot, or is it just like a hype thing right now?
I think it's a little bit of both. Could it maintain a number one spot? I think it can, but I don't think it's going to be like. I don't think the gap's going to be very large at all. And League's been around for a while, but obviously it's a really huge game. I'm not sure about the growth numbers in the game, if it's stagnated or if it's still growing a lot. So I can't really speak to that. Overwatch is new, it's shiny, but it's almost like a perfect storm. I want to say it's another perfect storm of games. I mean, that kind of terminology has been used for World of Warcraft and how it's part of the reason it got so successful. Was just a perfect storm of of the situation, but
Right.
it seems like throughout gaming there's like certain little eras for games. Like start with like for example early 2000s and where was Counter-Strike. That was probably one of the biggest games out there, and then it went to World of Warcraft, into League of Legends, and now it's been a while since League of Legends has been it's been top dog for a while.
Top 4 years, really.
Yeah, and now it almost feels like it's time for another game. And I mean, I don't want to say Overwatch is that game, but I mean, there's a lot of evidence that points towards something like that. So it could be possible. I mean, if it's caught on Korea as much as it has, I'd say yeah, it probably has a good future.
Yeah.
And can you hear that, by the way?
I can. It sounds
All right.
like
Hold on a
Someone's
second.
making some smoothies.
or
All right.
power drill.
We're gonna have to put a stop to this. 1 second.
This is amazing.
And-
honestly, like the fact if he doesn't come back with a smoothie, I'm gonna be pissed because I want a smoothie.
What kind of
So-
smoothie would it be? The strawberry smoothie, a berry blend, like a little bit of pineapple,
man.
straw
You know
pineapple?
what? Jake, after the show's done, I'm gonna get my butt up and I'm gonna go to Jamba Juice. Okay, and I'm gonna get myself a pomegranate paradise with an energy boost because your boy needs to wake up just a tad to make hashtag content. So yes, that's what we're gonna do. That's it.
I'm jelly, man. I think we might have Jamba Juice around here nowadays, but I just make my own smoothies. I got one of those Ninja blenders. I mean, it's called Ninja. How could I not purchase it? It's got like shurikens. It's like full Genji status, just chopping up the fruit, making me a delectable smoothie.
So coming up next here, we got the Ninja Blender with the Genji skin. And this is courtesy of our friends over at Blizzard. I don't know. It's a video game.
Blizzard smoothies. Oh my God, it's so easy.
Blizzard's. Why at BlizzCon isn't Blizzard making Blizzard smoothies? I feel like there's just a missed opportunity right now, man.
Well,
just pay me, Blizzard, and I will make you money. Print that.
We just basically locked in a Ninja Blender sponsorship for BlizzCon.
I do have a fun story about those blenders. Many years ago, when I first got married, me and my wife were watching TV, and when the ads start to come on, the Magic Bullet, which is actually what the Ninja Blender is, okay, but at the time was called the Magic Bullet, came out, and I told my wife, honey, we got to get this blender. It's so sick. It's like well, I was saying, like, we get to make smoothies and salsa, and we get to make we get to make veggie drinks and all these things, right? So she's like, yeah, let's go ahead and buy it. So we ended up buying it, but because you don't just wait, there's more. You buy it now, and then you get a second one for free. So we ended up getting it. Neither of them worked. It was a nightmare. They were like, my wife literally looked at me in the windows of my soul and said, "You are never buying anything from telemarketers or online ads ever again. Do you hear me?" And I was just like, "Yes, dear." And then I did it again like 5 months later.
Oh no.
Man, it was great.
Mistakes have been made.
Mistakes have been made indeed.
I like the instant laughter in Spo's face when he sat back down and realized we were still talking about smoothies and
Yeah.
blenders.
Oh, we came up with a great idea, Spo. We're gonna go to BlizzCon and make Blizzard smoothies
There
because
you go.
Yeah, Genji blenders. It's going to be the future. Don't worry.
The dream.
All right, guys. Well, let's move on and talk about the big, massive, gigantic post that Jeff Kaplan put out. Oh, actually, I wanted to look at the Google Trends. This is something we've been doing on the show almost every week. So just the final thing is we're just going to look at the Google Trends. And Overwatch, as it has slowed down a little bit, but you notice League is still dipping. So League is in the blue, and then you have Overwatch in the red. At the bottom there, that is actually Hearthstone. So Hearthstone has it's so small comparatively that it almost looks like it's flatlining, but it's actually just kind of like that's where most of the games are. And then CSGO, which is also just a beast right now, is pretty far up there, but Overwatch has quite surpassed that and is trying to climb up to the Google search results of League of Legends, which I mean, honestly, League is so far ahead of everything else. It's crazy to see Overwatch just kind of shoot up like that.
wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't even know you could do that.
Google Trends, man, it's great for just kind of judging interest in various topics of the
Well,
world.
I've been watching some of my favorite YouTubers as well, guys like Force Strategy Gaming and whatnot. And they put out a video today, a really good video. If you get a chance, check it out. It's basically called I think like is Overwatch overtaking League of Legends, something like that, right? And they brought up the PC Bong thing. He brought up the PC Bong thing in the video, which I thought was really cool. But one of the things he mentioned was how big Overwatch was for his community, right? And the content he was producing. And you could see, like, he was sitting around like 20,000, 30,000 views a video, doing relatively decent for a channel of his size. Then Overwatch comes out, and every video he does is now averaging like 150,000 views.
Wow.
And that is a significant increase. People are clearly hungry for Overwatch content. Guys like Siegel on Twitch, they turn on their stream and average 20,000 viewers.
It's
like,
crazy,
what the hell is
man.
that?
Yeah. That's like a literally a Blizzard production for Heroes of the Storm. That's a full tournament, like $100,000 prize pool. Actually, no, he averages on his stream what they're getting for the $500,000 event they're doing right now. So
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy like how many people have interest in Overwatch, and it's fantastic that there's already pro players that are getting reach the way Siegel is. But again, let's talk about this big Jeff Kaplan post. And I actually even made a pretty graphic to kind of summarize some of the things that were talked about in his post that he put on the forums. So Jeff Kaplan doesn't actually have a Twitter account. Like a lot of these kind of people would, kind of tweet stuff out. He's actually hyper active on the forums, which I think is really great. And it's just like a great way to directly speak to your game. So their main focus right now is competitive play. Obviously having a rank and a ladder and something to drive for is critical. They've said this is supposed to come out sometime before July. So presumably, it's done and they're just testing it and we'll be getting it in 1 to 2 weeks. But I don't think that's a big surprise to anyone. But then they went on to talk about, they have, I was actually really kind of surprised for this comment about new heroes. So they have some new heroes that are complete and others that are just getting started. And just the way that he worded it, and maybe I'm just getting, ahead of myself here, but it makes it seem like they've got a lot of heroes. It makes it sound like there's probably like 6+ heroes that are already in development and close to done, just the way that he words it. Because he, just saying some, right? He didn't say a couple. He didn't say, oh, we got this guy and this guy. It's like, no, we've got a bunch that we're working on, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, he could have said we have a new hero on the way. Chose to make it plural, and that, of course, means something. But I could say that and Jake, you know this as well. Spo, I'm sure you as well. Like when we talk to devs, it's very funny how the community can sometimes blow a lot of things out of proportion. So I don't want to. We know that there's at least one new hero coming.
Yeah.
Right. And according to the leaks and the information, or not leaks, but the stuff that was kind of like
Easter eggs,
grabbed,
yeah.
the Easter eggs, it's going to be a support sniper. So we know that at least something is coming, right? I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe just saying like they said heroes, because yeah, I'm sure heroes are coming down the line, but I think like immediately we're going to see one, maybe two heroes.
You think 2 in this year? Is that?
I think 2 in this year, yeah,
Okay.
would be realistic. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it's 2 at release.
They actually did say that after BlizzCon, when they put Genji, Mei, and Diva all into the game, they never want to do a multi-hero release again. They said it was a little bit much.
Okay.
They are going to stagger them, and I think it also makes sense to try to have a content release of like one new thing a month. I mean, Spo, we talked about this a bit, but like maybe a map, maybe a new Tavern Brawl or the weekly brawl, maybe a new hero.
They are working on a new map too.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
That
read
would
the
make
whole
sense.
thing, Spo, about the maps?
Yeah, I kind of made a little joke about it, saying, "Yeah, they're gonna be they're coming with a new map. Be another. Who's ready for another 2CP map? Woo!" But
Let's hope not. I think they know we're not in love with those.
Blizzard plays. Yeah, hopefully it's another payload map or another King of the Hill or something like that. And the 2CP would that might
like
enrage
another
some of the
payload.
competitive players.
Yeah, Golden Boy, I wanted to talk to you about game modes now that we're on that topic anyways. Obviously, you know, you've been around for the Halo days where it's obviously different play types. And the maps in Overwatch are basically essentially different modes. What do you like and what do you dislike?
Sorry if you hear my dog Stella in the background. She clearly doesn't like humans.
Spam your Frank or Z.
You know, I'll just have to get up and yell at her in a little bit, in which case she'll bark at me back. So, you know, she's the sassy one. Yeah, as far as maps and or game types that I like personally, whenever I watch like, oh my God, trying to remember the freaking name of it. I just always call it by the map. But you know, like the King of the Hill, right? Like whenever I'm like spectating and I watch King of the Hill is always fun to play. It's always fun to watch. Payload is just better. I enjoy Payload quite a bit. I really do not like 2CP maps. It just ruins it. Like I feel like Temple of Anubis, right? Like can be a really fun map if there was a payload. Like because there's a lot going outside, and like once that point's captured, you kind of just forget what the hell was going on. And here's the thing, I'm speaking purely from like matchmaking, public perspective, not competitive, but like
Right.
you see people just run to the second point. They abandon, they give up that entire area, don't even try and fight the
Yeah.
you know the street up to the temple, and then that's it. It's done.
You can steamroll point A to B like immediately. It's like
Yeah, it's insane. I don't like that. So I would like another payload map. I think like the 2 control point maps are just you know, like I would, it would be nice if they didn't release one this year and just focused on King of the Hill and control and payload. That would be fun.
I think that's one thing everybody can agree on is that
Yeah.
2CP maps are not very well liked in general. So
it makes me sad because like stylistically, like just design wise,
Right.
for aesthetics, I love Hanamura.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like the most
Yes.
beautiful map
Yeah.
ever. And maybe it's just because I'm like a Japan nerd. I really don't know, but it's cool. The arcade, the Murloc, like the little things they put in there, and just the different places in that map. It's really cool. But Golden Boy, if you had to come up with one game type to add to the game,
Ooh.
considering it's multi-hero and it's not like Halo, where I mean Halo kind of has classes nowadays where there's like the different like you know being able to run or the jetpack. I have not played the most recent Halo. I assume that's still in the game. What would you want?
Yeah. Well, just so you know, Halo abandoned the class system.
Oh, that's
It's all
good. That's
arena-based
good.
now.
That's
But
actually-
yeah, because Halo 4 was cheeks. But you know, like they know, they know. So what would I like? You know, if Okay, I think what would be pretty cool would be a tug of war type war game where everyone starts off with a neutral point and then or their own point and then they fight to capture and then go to the middle, fight that, and at that point you're kind of just like pushing back and forth, similar to like War and Call of Duty, like World at War, or it's been done in other games before as well. Like I feel like with a class-based game that actually would be pretty fun,
Yeah.
but it would require like some sizable maps. It would need like completely new maps that Overwatch does not even have, like the style at least. But I would like War. So like a little like King of the Hill basically, but instead it's just you're pushing back but there's a comeback mechanic as well, of you being able to like capture a point and then fight back. Or alternatively, one of my favorite game modes I think that's ever been created was Halo 5's Strongholds game type. Basically, it's domination, but when you capture 2 points, you start gaining points.
Right.
And if you capture 3 points, then you are gaining double the points. But if let's say it's like 91 and it's scored to 100 and it's 91 to like 5, you can actually, or the other team, the team with 5, can actually come back and fight all the way and potentially win the game 100 to 91 because of, some good strategy and being able to hold objectives together. But maybe that wouldn't work in a hero shooter environment. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that
do
sounds
feel
tricky.
like, yeah, it would be really tough. It would be really tough to do that. But those are game types that I enjoy fighting over. I don't know. I just like fighting over points, man. Except for Control Point. I don't like Control Point, but I like King of the Hill type game types apparently.
Yeah, what's nice about the King of the Hill game type as well is it's not only it's fun to play, but it's also easier to understand from a spectator's point of view. I think that's one thing that the payload struggles with a bit right now, and how they do it in competitive with the stopwatch. Faster time wins is that there is no in-game HUD. There's nothing telling viewers that this is okay. They have this amount of time to actually complete the map, or they have if you pass this point to win. There's none of that. I mean, there is some on the UI for the tournament organizers and whatnot, but it's just not as clear, and
Oh well,
and it's not in the
stopwatch should be
game
given.
officially. So
Yeah,
Stopwatch
we
should
need
be
it.
given.
Yeah.
We need stopwatch. Like that is, I mean, there's a reason why I returned to Castle Wolfenstein and just Wolfenstein in general. Though that was one of my favorite games on Xbox. Funny enough, even though I know Wolfenstein Enemy Territory and all that stuff had stopwatch as well. If I'm correct, I could be wrong, but that was before my time. But I played the crap out of Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Stopwatch is amazing, and I feel like that is something that Blizzard just needs to put into the game. I don't know why they aren't doing it. Clearly, it's what they want. So clearly it's what the community wants. I would reckon to say we'll see stopwatch by the end of the year, but because people are asking for it so much at this point.
At least in custom games, I think we need it for esports. If they don't want to put it in ranked and whatnot, that's their call.
Even in competitive too. I mean, and sorry, not competitive. In the okay, competitive. I'm talking about the term stuff, but I guess I should say the ranked right as well.
Okay.
The ranked as well, and you make a good point about that, because if you're playing ranked mode and let's say your team completes it by 3 minutes, and the other team, you complete the map in 3 minutes, you just completely steamroll the other team, and then the other team, now it's your turn to defend, and you defend for you almost make it, but they get it. The other team manages to cap the point or cap the final point, and it was like they did it in overtime. Maybe it took them 10 and a half or 11 minutes. I mean, it and then you go to this sudden death 1 round cost.
It feels
map,
bad.
It feels really bad. It doesn't feel like, it feels like you should have won. And so I think that was one thing that kind of annoyed people about the way that it worked in closed beta, was that it didn't feel very rewarding. It felt like almost you got cheesed out of a win. So it's really the balls in Blizzard's court, really, on what they want to do with it.
It's how we kind of trained ourselves to think as well. Like, truthfully, I think because it's a lot of people saw this game and again, I could be way off base here, but I believe stopwatch was in Team Fortress.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So okay. So I'm not crazy. Because I remember playing it. I haven't played Team Fortress 2 in like God knows how long.
Yeah.
I got the orange box and I was like, oh, this is fun, and then that was it. And then I bought it on PC and I was like, hats, and then that was it. So I I think the issue is that because we had so many players coming from those communities over to Overwatch, that was what their expectation was, right? Had that not been the case, I think people would have been okay with the current game plan. I don't think Stopwatch is a product of like the game and like what it should have evolved to, but it's more of a product of the community of players who have migrated from one game to another, and this is the thing that they're used to, so this is the thing that they want. Granted, I think it is the right call to make, but like had those players never migrated, would we even be having this discussion to begin with?
Well,
Like I don't know.
I mean, just as a supporting fact from another perspective, I know you were one of the people that watched Agents Rising, and this was an event that was trying to find a different solution from Stopwatch. They did a point system. And I don't know if you were as confused as I was, but that point system was so, yeah, as someone who's like, we've both been part of, I don't know how many different esports, following, watching, spectating, working, doesn't matter. Just tuning in, I was like, what the hell's happening? Like, what does that number mean? Is that like, do they have votes or something? Like, I don't, it just made no sense to me.
So lost, dude.
And that's the alternative to Stopwatch, where a Stopwatch might not seem super intuitive right now, just because it's not built into the game. It's like, because it feels a little weird when, the production is like, I guess, not optimal. It would be infinitely more easily, like, I understood, I guess, is what I'm going for. And it would also like make the rule sets more stable.
Maybe they should have judges hold up little placards, 8.0, 9.0.
Nice headshot.
Simon Cowell comes out of nowhere. That's dreadful.
You got a sticker.
I would say so. Someone in the chat just said that they actually like the point system at Agents Rising, and I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you, but what I am going to say is, can you explain it to me? Can you please, like, we could set up a private, discussion via Twitch whispers, and you could explain it to me, because I'm so lost. I'm a smart guy. I'm not that smart, but like I'm relatively smart. Like for a gamer, right? For like who plays video games all his life, I'm relatively smart.
It's something like if you capture a point, you get a point. If you deliver the payload, you get 3 points. There's like all these different variables.
I think it was if you got 1 point for completing the map, and then you get 2 points.
Yeah.
You
get more
like
for
if
defending.
It's a payload, well, if it's a payload map, you get 1 point for completing the map as offense, and whoever gets the faster time, I believe, got 2 points. And for King of the Hill, if you run around, that was a point as well.
So why not just
that's how it
have
worked.
done it like? Because honestly, I feel like they were still awarding faster times, right?
Right, but for more points.
Which is not going to be in the competitive structure, right? It's literally going to be, I win one, I win a second, I win one, you win the second, we go to King of the Hill, one of us has to win. Am I understanding that right? Like, that is basically how they're doing it in competitive.
That's how they had it, but
yeah.
I mean, we don't know if that's how they're
that was just that event. Obviously, like, events have changed quite a bit. Each event's a little bit different too right now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, that system, I kind of understood that. Like, again, you want it to be, of course, it was just that one event, but you want it to be as sensible for a new viewer as possible. I had a lot of friends hit me up and ask me the same question. Do you know how Cloud9 won? And I'm like, I wish I could tell you, my friend. Use the internet. Maybe that will help you. Like, I couldn't give them any knowledge. But again, it's one of those things where it's like a balancing act, right? Spo, you said it before. That was just one event. Clearly, like, it's a system that needs refinement. Stopwatch system makes sense, but it's like a super awkward ending where, like, and he won, and now we slowly drag the objective over to the point and game. So that part is a little weird. Clearly, it's just like you said, the ball's in Blizzard's court. They have to fix it.
Yeah, and maybe they'll wrap all of that into the competitive play update. If they decide that that's what is needed after all the feedback from the community, and we know this competitive play update is the next big patch coming out for the game. Maybe we will get Stopwatch with that. We talked about. Go ahead, Spo.
I was gonna say with competitive play as well. I know you'd mentioned with League of Legends that dynamic queue, and how they change it. I believe what they did is they used to have a solo and duo queue, and then they also used to have a team queue where you would queue as your team as 5. You would make a roster, queue as a team of 5. But I think now how they do it is kind of like how they did it, and I'm not sure if they still do it in Here's the Storm. So I remember you could, I remember queuing up as like solo queue, and then you'd be queuing against like Cloud9 or Tempo Storm.
Yeah,
And
you
it was
can't do
like,
that anymore. You can't do that
okay,
anymore.
you're like, I know my MMR, but is there really no other solo and duo players or groups that are out there? So that was kind of interesting, and I think that was one of my worries if they're because they had mentioned. I remember Jeff Kaplan mentioning something that they wanted to kind of explore the dynamic queue system for competitive play, and I know that there are people with teams, there are people with big groups, but there are also a lot of people who play solo or just with another friend, and that can be kind of rough when you're playing against a complete organized team as solo or duo
Yeah.
queue. So I'm hoping that they would have something like solo or duo queue. I know that Blizzard originally also wanted a 1 month seasons for competitive that
Yeah,
they're going to
let's
put
hope
in,
that
but
changes.
yeah, they actually I don't have a source for this, but I want to say that they were thinking about actually not doing the 1 month seasons because there's so much so much negative
I would
feedback
imagine
on
that's
the 1
part
month.
of. Yeah, I would imagine that's part of like why they.
I think 3 months was what they wanted to, is what they're going to be going for, but don't quote me on that because I'm not sure if I can. I'll have to find the source, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they
So,
wanted to go 3 months. So
a
maybe
couple
they'll.
of things
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to share. Halo does a 1 month season.
Yeah.
Every month, and there's a reason for that, and I'll get into that in a second. And then, what was the other bit that you had mentioned before the season? Oh my
queue,
goodness,
dynamic
the
queue.
queue. So
Yeah.
I had talked to a few of my friends who used to work for Riot, who work for Riot, and the way it was posed to me was because the population of League of Legends is so high, dynamic queue works because it will pit you against mostly individuals, maybe a group of two.
And queue times are shorter.
Yeah, and queue times are shorter. And if you queue as a group, you're guaranteed that you will like 90% run into a group of 5 as well. That's what I was told. Now, in the instance of a game like and I think people don't like that clearly because like solo queue and group queue were clearly working for what they wanted, right? Like to just jump into a game, guarantee that they were going to play solo, right? People on the internet are going to proclaim that they're playing against teams of 5. Hell, they'll say they'll play against a team of 6 if it means that Riot is going to change it in their favor. But then when you talk about like lower pop games like Halo, for example, you can't separate them, right? You have to keep them together. But that is a common complaint in Halo, where I'm one dude and I go into arena. Guess what? I'm more than likely playing against a team of 4, or I'm teamed with a group of 3, and it's very frustrating. Very frustrating. Did we lose all webcams? By the way?
We did. Skype is being mean today. Skype recently just added in like all these advertisements and stuff. I think they must have changed something about their service, also like restricting the duration of calls. And now that our cams are back up, they're really dark. We're in the shadow world.
We have to pay money. Ooh. We have to give Skype money. That is what I realized. You give them money and then it comes back after a little while.
You're kidding.
I swear to God.
Wait, is this a joke? Is this
no, I did. Not us.
All right.
Whoever's hosting the call has to give money.
so they used to have a premium, right, that you paid for.
Yeah.
And I used to pay for it, but then they took it away. So is it back now?
It's the same kind of concept, except you just give them money. We can go dark the whole time.
No, we're back in the light world. We're in the lightness.
Are we?
We're good.
I still see darkness.
Well, you're still in the dark world.
I'm still in the dark world. Clearly, Thor, come save me. So anyway, God, Skype, what an incredible service! I remember, fun anecdote. Had to Skype sponsored an event that I was casting. And then, like an idiot, I was like, "Oh yeah, these players are on Discord, just all chatting it up." And then the guy came up to me and was like, "Hey man, event sponsored by Skype," and I was like, "Oh cool! I just found out like 2 minutes ago." So hashtag production value. Anyway,
that was the last time I casted an event.
That was the last time I casted Halo. So oddly enough, anyway, so yeah, basically what I was trying to get at is like for higher pop games like Overwatch. Separation of queues can work, but Blizzard's fear is splitting population. Any dev's fear is splitting the population. It's the reason why you could log into Halo and not find that many playlists, while back in the day there were like 30, or why Battlefield will have like everything condensed into one just for the sake of simplicity. Everyone is so paranoid about population drops that they just want to keep the system as I guess light as possible. So Blizzard is definitely going to do dynamic queue, because if the pop of Overwatch ever drops, they don't have to worry about switching their queue system up like League did.
Huh. I guess we'll see. But that's a good point. I actually hadn't thought about it in that perspective. So I guess we'll find out what they end up doing. It was dynamic queue for heroes for a long time, like you mentioned, and just recently they made it so there's basically team queue, and there's actually unranked draft. There's ranked draft, which is 1 to 2 players. Then there's team draft, which is a full 5 players, and then there's just quick play where there's no rules whatsoever. So there's now technically 4 queues in heroes.
Wow.
Wait, heroes?
Heroes has 4 queues as of this week.
Wow.
Unranked, ranked, team league, which is full stack of 5, and then quick match, which is just...
What's quick match then?
Quick match is literally just what it always was. You pick the hero you want to play and you go in. Unranked is an actual queue where you actually, like, with a draft and bans, pick ban phase.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference with unranked. Brand new, just added that to the game. So we'll see what they do with Overwatch. Obviously, there's no draft in Overwatch, so that wouldn't be a game type. But what do we have for game types right now? It's literally just... we have quick play, we have the weekly brawl, and then we have competitive. So chances are...
we'll have competitive.
Well, we will have competitive.
Yeah.
If they split competitive into 2 queues, which seems likely right now, there would be 4 queues as well, which sounds like a lot. Especially when you consider that it's on PC, and then are Xbox and PlayStation together, or are they?
No.
They're both. So yeah,
We're separate.
Yeah, so that's between 3 consoles as well. It's a lot of things. All right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So we're talking about the new maps. There is one new map that has entered the production pipeline, which means it's like they're good with it conceptually, and they just need to do, the actual production. And then he was talking about other maps that we're experimenting with. One in particular that he mentioned in his post on the forums was basically, it was a really big map, and the way it was designed, the way that line of sight worked, it vastly favored snipers and long range characters. So they killed it. Like, they're just like, this is a map where Reaper is actually worthless, and that's not good game design. So they just slaughtered that map. But we do know there's at least one new map that will hit. And obviously, we don't know what the dev cycle looks like for Overwatch. That maybe we'll get that map this year. Who knows?
Maybe. One can dream.
One can dream. But I think this is pretty exciting for everyone, is that they mentioned the observer interface, and they're very... they're well aware of the fact that they need to make improvements to the observer interface, and this is something that he said it's come up, just common discussions within the office to make this better for the spectator, the broadcaster, and the observer functionality. It's come a long way, but they're talking with tournaments and they're talking with everyone, and they said in terms of when they do correct all of this, when they do enhance the functionality, this will in turn actually benefit play of the game. We know in the past they've said that we're going to get replay files eventually, which for content creators is amazing. Just for
that's the dream.
Yeah, it's so useful for building tutorials or montages or anything you want to build.
Like, right now you just gotta either plug in Elgato or stream or use Shadow Play or any of those, right, in order to cap any kind of footage, unless you get that highlight which disappears when you get off your game.
I wanted to find out if you can actually save those manually. If that file is an actual physical file that I could go and it's put in a different folder before I close Overwatch, because like you said, they disappear as soon as you log out.
Right.
I would argue no.
Yeah, probably not.
But if you do, let me find out, man.
All right.
So, I had a sick Tourborn turret play that I wanted to share with the world.
Just you're walking down the hallway after you died in the middle of a fight, and your turret's just going.
I was
down.
Actually just staring at a wall, and the whole time, and the turret was just raining death on everyone. And then I ulted and got even more kills.
That's a dream.
Yeah, man. I lost it. Gone forever. I will say though, You see that one play of the game that the guy, the turbo one, was like checking out the Widowmaker's butt?
Oh, dude, that was so good.
That's such a good play of the game. I'm like, he has to like because actually it's getting to a point now where I think people are doing things and they're doing it intentionally because they know that that play could be play of the game. So like I see someone get like a sick kill and then they like or like a sick string of kills and then they start teabagging out of nowhere because it comes up in a play of the game now
Yeah.
because
It's that
everyone
or
will
the spray paint or the wave, the emote. And
Yeah,
there's always something.
Hi there.
it's always something.
Hi there.
It makes the game much more enjoyable, though. When you laugh after the play of the game, it's good. Even if you lost, if it makes you laugh, that's a good thing.
It's a win. Or you just get a Mercy Result play of the game. Those are so exciting.
Yeah,
Hey, man,
they're amazing.
you gotta give
They're
them their
so rare
moment.
too. You almost never see them.
So,
It's like a unicorn.
D the Hunter in chat confirmed that those replay files are not like an actual physical file, so there's no way to manually go into your folders and save them.
I'm almost
Unfortunately,
certain someone would have figured that out like the day the game came out.
Right.
You know, like some guy just like, I gotta find these stupid files. Where are the files? And they can't find the files, and then that's it, done. That's how I envision nerds sound.
It's not a bad voice.
It gets worse.
it does. It does. I know for a fact. I've seen it. So some other things that he talks about in his post is just like there's like an endless list of social features they want to be putting into the game. Obviously, they'll be adding them, but competitive play is still their focus. And then there's a lot of tech initiatives just to increase the make the ping better for everyone, like the high ping setting. They want that to work better for everyone, and a lot of just technological side points. So people are always talking about all the infrastructure side of things for Overwatch, and it should be better and it could be better. And I actually think they've done a pretty good job considering this is their first shooter, but they're still not satisfied. They want to keep making it better and better and better.
No word on tick rate, huh?
He didn't mention tick rate.
Interesting. I have a feeling that if they ever did update it, they wouldn't tell anyone.
On tick rate, I think you're right.
I think they'll just do it, and then people would just be like, "Hey, man, this feels better. What do they do?" And we'd be like, "Oh, I don't know, man. We just optimize our game and get better as we go on, and then that's it." And they sound like they're freaking geniuses until that nerd who was looking for those files gets in there and then does the math on the tick rate. I don't know.
It'll happen. Someone will do it.
Oh no! Someone said that they mentioned it. Pensive Goat said they mentioned it. So, interesting.
Did I miss that?
They're experimenting with it in customs to see if they can spread it. Okay, cool. So it's like an STD. Dope.
Jesus. Well, that's good. It's always good to hear that they're touring around, tinkering, always trying to improve things. It sounds like they have a lot of social features. I don't recall him mentioning anything about like clans, or even just chat channels for the PC client, because I know chat channels are something that are largely sought after. As a streamer, I use chat channels to do viewer games, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So who knows? But a lot is on the way, and just a big shout out and props to Jeff Kaplan for being so incredibly transparent. Like, that is a really long post. He sat down and he thought through it, and he's just like, look, I'm the head developer, but I'm still going to take the time to address this to the community, let everyone know what to look forward to. And it's great. I mean, I love seeing this kind of stuff. And, he made a video a while back during the beta too, doing the same kind of thing, addressing it, just kind of speaking to the camera. And it was short and sweet, but it was good. It was, I love having that interaction with the Blizzard devs. It's always great.
I'm going to believe an intern did this and not Jeff Kaplan. That's going to be the story I'm going with, because I
man.
cannot accept that a developer has this much time on their hands to type something out. So that's the story, and I'm sticking with it. Jeff, come at me, dog.
What time was this posted? One day ago. It doesn't say the exact time. I wish I could find the exact time, because honestly, this is the kind of thing where I'd almost think maybe he did it at home on his own free time, but maybe I'm giving him too much credit. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about the patch. This is the first balance patch for Overwatch, period, since launch, and I think we kind of were leaning towards this coming soon last week, Spo.
Yeah.
Does this live up to your expectations? Is this what you were hoping for?
Somewhat, yeah. I think that some of the creators were needed. though it's debatable whether they nerfed the right mouse button a little bit too much, the damage a little bit too much. But there's been discussion on that. But I think that it definitely was obviously too strong, and Widow was much too impactful, and she was used on just about every point on just about every map. There are a couple exceptions, but she was very often used, and it was just it was too strong. So I think her changes were fine.
Yeah.
There were a couple that I expected. Before they said that it was just McCree and Widowmaker, I had expected maybe some changes to Diva and maybe something to Zen Yada, but maybe those will be coming in the future. Who
Isn't
knows?
the Widow change kind of like a buff to Zenyatta, like indirectly, like it makes it more viable, or no?
It's a buff to any low HP characters. I mean, you could say it's a buff to just about everybody on the map. You could say it's a buff to Winston because, well,
Yeah, but he can't be body shot from across the map anymore.
yeah.
You now have to
I mean,
headshot him.
you could still just headshot and kill Winston before he lands on you if you're a good enough sniper. But it's made the sniper more a sniper. But I guess some of the Widowmains that I have talked to, at least some of the ones on some of the pro teams, they've said that it's Widow's a little bit less fun to play. Feels a little bit more
Because the
mobile.
the
I
scope,
guess.
yeah, the scope change.
Yeah, you
The
stay
scope thing
scoped
was
in a lot
huge.
more. Yeah.
And you
That
think
is
about guys
huge.
like Taimu who just like hold that down constantly, and then
You don't
or
have as much
constantly-
court vision as you
Yeah.
normally would. Things like that. It's a little bit different. It might just. I think people should give it a couple weeks before they just. It's different. It's like it's a big change to a class that you've been playing for a while. I think if they give it some time just to make it feel, because it feels weird at first. You're used to playing a certain way, and then when that's changed, it feels weird at first, and then you'll get used to it, and then and then I think that's when you can give the feedback of, okay, this is good, or hey, it's bad, we should change it back. But I think the changes overall are pretty good.
Do you think that this change would allow Hanzo to come in to the fray now?
Possibly. I think you'll see more tanks, honestly, because McCree was the big tank buster. I mean, I think you'll see more tanks now. I think it's the Reaper.
So you think
More
Widowmaker
often.
still takes precedence over Hanzo for that range role?
A lot
If you play a Widow in
Yeah.
your matches, yeah, I don't think Widow's not gonna be feel like a must pick. I think she'll have her roles on certain maps on certain points, but I don't think teams are gonna feel obligated to choose her, just like teams will feel obligated to choose a McCree. And I think that's how a lot of the classes should be. Classes shouldn't be like, okay, you absolutely need this character, and if you don't, you're just screwing your team over. But I think they're in the right place right now.
Where do you think Hanzo lands, though? Because obviously you're talking about like Hanzo as a sniper golden boy, but at the other end, Hanzo is kind of like McCree in the sense that with scattershot thrown at the ground, you can instantly kill someone in the same regard of a flashbang with the Fanda Hammer. So Hanzo's kind of like the in-between between McCree and Widow in some regards, but is he ever going to have his place in the current meta?
I mean, honestly, from the looks of it, no.
Yeah.
I feel like that they're just characters who do things better, and they're just. It's the same reason why maybe if they do some big diva change, I wouldn't expect to see diva be all that effective. I don't know. I would like it to be. I know that Blizzard wants to live in a world where every hero is viable in any situation or every situation or particular situation. I don't know what their vision is there exactly, but it does feel like they want to go into that kind of a world. And clearly there are some heroes that just excel better than others. Like, for example, when you talk about like control point, right? It just makes more sense to have like a Lucio than it does to have a Zenyatta. Mm-hmm. Right. But Zenyatta is, he has his usefulness, right? He's very strong. I believe he's like one of the stronger ones of the support characters. So can certainly dole out a lot of damage.
Well, he's a tank buster because of Discord. He can just melt a Winston.
That too.
Yeah.
That too. But like, and now that we may not see Widows more, we could see more Zenyatas who could like bust up some tanks. Because you mentioned before, right? You're probably going to see more tanks now.
Yeah.
But could that mean that we see Zenyatta coming in to counter it because of Discord? And Zenyatta doesn't need to be concerned about being picked by a Widowmaker from the middle of Carajo land in Dominican Republic and can actually like do their job. So I don't know. There's a lot of cool instances here. Honestly, I'm just gonna go on and say it. McCree can get F'd in the A for all I care, and I'm so happy. I hate McCree as a Winston main. I hate McCree so much. So much.
So these nerfs, they just make you happy. That alt fire, it went from 70 damage to 45. That is a sizable damage reduction to that ability. Like very sizable. Before you flashbang and you fan the hammer and you kill. Honestly, most of the
everything
roster.
with one fan, and if you don't, you roll and just do it again.
Yeah, but
2 tries.
It's insane.
They reduced the reload time at least. That's nice.
Yeah. Wait, I didn't catch that part. So
yeah, it's like I think it's 0.3 now. Is it?
It's from 0.75 seconds to 0.3 seconds.
Yeah.
For the reload.
Oh. Okay. That is. Well, yeah. I mean, that's interesting. We'll see how that plays out. I
think they're just trying to make him more of a gunslinger than someone that's reliant on that combo. I think that's like the idea. They're just trying to be like, hey, you should not be playing McCree as someone that hides around the corner and blows someone up. You should be running around, just slinging out those shots with your pistol, trying to get those kills. Even though there is fall off damage, so he's not a sniper. He's a mid reach type assassin, I guess. But I don't know. I think he's fun. I actually prefer him now with the reload change because I hate the just wait for the flashbang, fan the hammer. I never feel good about those kills.
You did them all the time, you sneaky bum. Yeah. I see you.
He's like my least played hero next to maybe Bastion.
McCree?
Yeah, I never played him.
Really?
I play a lot of Genji. I play a lot of Pharah.
One of my coworkers, he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm a McCree main. So good as McCree." I'm like, "What do you do?" He's like, "Well, man, I flashbang and I fan the hammer." I'm like, yeah, you flashbang and you fan the hammer, huh?
Because like every other McCree.
Do it against tanks and stuff. It's like, yeah, right? You freaking douche.
Truthfully, my favorite part of playing on the ladder the day of the nerf was all these McCree mains were like salty. Like, oh yeah, nerf McCree, they said. McCree's OP. Thanks, Blizzard. Learn how to balance a game. It's just like, dude, these kids that have 20 games under their belt are so salty about this nerf to McCree because they can't be carried to victory with cheese. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I'm excited for seeing how this plays out over time. For me, really, it's just about bringing in some of the lesser used heroes into the rotation, and I feel like this helps out a character like Zenyatta, but as we mentioned before, it doesn't help out a character like Hanzo, who I think will still lose out the sniper battle to Widowmaker and still loses out the mid-range battle to McCree or anyone else really, like Soldier, right? By the way, I just want to point out, and I know it's a very easy thing to like kind of connect the dots because I come from COD and Halo, but Soldier is so fun to play, and it's not because he is your standard atypical FPS guy. He's just a very fun character to play.
He is.
I hope to God I'm not alone there.
No, dude, he's one of my most played as well. He's just satisfying, like the way that they've made his assault rifle work, like the how you're rewarded for not holding down the left click. You want to do it in bursts. It just feels good. The Helix rocket, my noob tube. I mean, I need that in my life. And
and I got the gold 76 skin. My God, that's all I wanted to use. But then of course I got it on console.
Yeah.
And then everyone uses freaking Soldier on console. Stupid COD kids.
Is that how it is? You said you see a lot of people use Hanzo and Soldier and Genji and
Tracer.
Okay.
Tracer sounds so hard to play on console. It's not, like I have an Xbox controller. I'm gonna plug it in to my PC and just play in training mode as Tracer. And I'll be back next week with the deets on that because that sounds impossible.
Listen, okay. I wish I could give I wish I could say, yeah, man, people use Tracer because, she's such a good character, play good harass, right? Really knows how to bother people in the back lines. No, it's because she's on the box, guys. She's the character on the box. When they get the game, they see Tracer and they're like, oh man, I want to use this little girl with machine guns. So they use Tracer. Okay, there's no other reason. All right, there's no other reason. It's not because of the character and her abilities. It's because she's on the box.
What are the controls? Right click is probably shoot, the right trigger.
Yeah. So it's like basically what you would expect for shooters, but there's some like oddballs in there. So like, so your abilities are all mapped to, like your particular buttons, like whatever that may be, like left bumper, or right bumper as well. And ultimate's done with Y. You could jump with X, reload, or jump with A, reload with X, melee with B. Or actually, you melee with the by pushing into the thumbstick, and then you crouch with B, or you could switch that up. They offered a lot of different control options.
My mind is so boggled right now, just trying to think like of the.
And I use a scuff, so I could show you guys. Actually, I have my controller right here, so I use a scuff with the paddles in the back. So I never have to really worry about taking my hand off of the thumbstick. I could just always like play and move as I see fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this must be a new world for a lot of people.
I mean, I played a lot of Halo back in the day, obviously, like during the LG era, but it's been years, man. It really has.
Yeah, Scuff's actually really improved the quality of the games.
I've held one of them.
Yeah, like
nice.
a lot of people say like, you really can't do much with a controller, but like if you play against a guy who has a Scuff and a person who has a stock controller, there's a clear like I'm clearly going to have more options to take you out. And it's similar to like keyboard and mouse, right? When you think about how many options are at our fingertips with a keyboard and mouse, more options never hurt anyone. That's why like a Scuff works very well, or an Xbox Elite controller if you got that.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with what a Scuff is, can you briefly explain what a Scuff is?
Sure. So Scuff, here you go. It's the controller. So Scuff is a company that makes this controller, right? It looks like a regular Xbox controller, but the big thing here is the paddles on the back, right? So this paddle here, so when I hold this controller, I push this button here, this is A, push this button here, this is B. I could remap this if I want, right? To be whatever I want of these buttons that are located all across the controller. And they're not attached to it, right?
Oh,
it's just buttons that are like located here. You see like the little like ridges. Those are like the knobs where like the paddles fall into. And you can connect 4 paddles into the back here. So your hands never, ever come off of the stick. So the whole point is I could jump and move my stick at the same time without sacrificing that time between my thumb hitting A and then my thumb going back to the stick.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so you have more control.
Aren't the sticks longer on that controller too? They're a little bit taller than the
No, these are the stock Xbox controller. I like the stock sticks, but there are options. You can get higher stick height could be higher or lower.
Interesting.
Depending what you want. Concave or convex, depending if you like PlayStation 3 style or the Xbox style. There's a lot of really cool options with this, and my controller's gold, so it's awesome.
Golden boy, true to his name.
Gotta keep the brand consistent, baby.
The golden soldier skin. He's got the golden controller. I like it.
Well, the second I get anything gold, like in Halo, I have the gold standard AR. I'm like, dude, I'm never changing it. Never giving me another skin ever again. It's freaking gold. It's just how I live my life.
Do you have that golden Mercy skin? That is or not Mercy, Widow skin. Widow has a really nice golden skin.
You need the Widow one too.
Oh, dude.
It's an epic. It's nice.
I'm a terrible Widow maker, so it would be useless.
Okay.
Golden Winston would be sick.
I want to start waiting for the teams that have matching skins just all across. That'd be kind of cool.
Soon, man.
Sick.
That's going to happen, I believe.
Just seeing all Cloud9 skins.
Dude, it'd be sick. It really would.
Yeah.
They have the Banana Winston skin. That's your calling.
That's the one I have. I have the Banana Winston.
Of course.
Stand out like a sore thumb, dude. It's amazing. It's so awesome.
You always see him coming. He's the least sneaky thing ever. A big, bright yellow ape. Just launching through the sky at you. It's like, okay, I'll shoot that now.
Oh, man, it's great.
Very fun. All right, well, we're going to transition over to just talk about esports coverage a little bit. Basically, they were a lot of events this weekend, and I don't know if there's like anything crazy to point out. The meta, a lot of these events. What Joshy and I cast the Gosu Gamers NA Cup number 12, and
Yep.
it went with the single hero limit, the capture point, the double capture maps. They were all banned from the event. I'm in love with that rule set. I think that if I was to run an Overwatch event right now, I would use that rule set. Stopwatch. You take out those maps from the map list entirely and single hero limit. We didn't see a ton of composition diversity in the competition.
Right.
Like it was very common to see on a payload map your Widow, your McCree, your Reinhardt, your Mercy, your Lucio, and then maybe that sixth would be a Soldier 76 for a point.
Right.
Maybe it would be a
Six
Junkrat.
is more of a flex and more of a
Yeah. Well, you try to get a big aimbot kind of thing, right? You try to just make something happen with aimbot. And we saw like some cool diversity, but then when you flip over to King of the Hill, you start to see more like maybe I don't know if we saw Diva once, but
you'll see Zarya's a lot.
we saw Zarya's. Oh, there was a lot of Zarya's. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, because Graviton Surge.
Zarya is amazing.
But that's when
Love
we're
that
starting to
character.
see the Genji and the Tracer see more
Yep.
prominence. And it's fun. It's good. I like the fact that it's like it's figured out, but not 100% because each team has their own stylistic differences.
And a big part of that too is the 1 hero limit as well.
I
The
love
1
it.
hero limit. I'm not saying that there would be more or less variety without the 1 hero limit, but certainly it changes the game. Changes the
I mean, there was like this one point on King's Row where they're defending the big push is coming in, and this is when they would want to go all Winston, right? But
Yeah.
instead, you get a Tracer and a Diva and a Winston and a Reinhardt. They're just desperate to get characters that can go quickly, get on the point, and stay alive. Just keep it off, and they held with it, and they bought
Right.
themselves an extra 2 minutes on that map. So, there's still cool things like you don't need six
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Winston to get that effect.
I cannot see a world where Blizzard will limit the heroes in competitive officially.
Yeah, who knows?
I really can't. Like, I know everyone's loving this single hero limit, but I do hope that they don't have their hearts set on Blizzard being cool with this, because hero swaps and duplicate heroes was what Blizzard wanted from the get-go.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a little odd. This is definitely going against their philosophy. Is it a correct philosophy? I don't know. But I would say that single hero limit, you definitely like. I think that what people are saying is like right now, because the system was what you saw, like two Lucios, 2 Tracers, 2 Winstons, right? Like that was the thing that popped up. Or you see 2 Zaryas. You will see more duplicates than not, right? There was a very, very low chance that you were not going to see a duplicate. But I feel as if it's kind of going down a dark path where like I can't see it lasting. And then if Blizzard says no, this is not what we want, I could see the community really going against them. So I hope that the community doesn't really put Blizzard on hostage here.
It's not even like 100% the community that wants single hero limits. There's actually a whole debate.
Right.
The community is actually quite splintered for that, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not too in tune with the community.
Yeah. No, it's quite splintered. But one of the
And
ideas...
Reddit's just play the game posts, so you really can't go to Reddit anymore.
Not anymore.
and
Apparently.
art. It's now all art.
Yeah. Now
Oh,
it's all
really?
art. Yeah.
Okay.
They've like
Yeah.
started like forbidding play of the game posts
Yeah.
or something.
They're doing an experiment for 1 week. Apparently.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead,
No,
Jake.
well, what I was going to say is we had this idea of restricting the number of swaps you have. Like, say that your team starts out with 4 swaps, and say a swap takes like 1 minute to recharge or something, right? They refill. You have like, it's basically like a resource your team spends and a cooldown that you're spending in order to swap. It's like, okay, they use their 4 swaps to do this, but now they're going to be stuck with these characters for XYZ. I think that would be kind of a compelling middle ground. It keeps hero swapping in, but then you're making that swap and that a strategic choice that has a cost, which is really good for esports, right? Because they're spending something in their story behind that. So that's the system that I'm in favor for personally moving forward. But obviously, like the fun part about that is if they keep empowering custom games with new features, new tools, everyone can run their own rule sets for their events. Obviously, Blizzard will have their circuit or whatever that has the mainstay rule set, but I
Right.
think we're going to see a lot of side events with slightly different rules.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the way it looks like what Blizzard is doing is they're really trying to see where the community is taking it, right?
Hmm.
And then I have a feeling that when they feel like, okay, now it's time for us to put down the hammer, this is the rule set that we're going to go with moving forward. All the other TOs just going to fall in line, despite there being custom game options, because for these TOs, guys like Gosu, guys like One Nation of Gamers, if they're still doing stuff, ESL, whoever, they want to attract the top teams, and the top teams are going to play the format that Blizzard puts forward, especially if there is a big circuit attached to it, right? Because I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. It's happening, right? Like I know everyone's been like Blizzard's been like, we don't want to talk about that just yet. Oh no, 100% it is happening. Like the writing's on the wall, guys. Right? Blizzard is an esports developer. Like at this point, every game
Yeah.
they even turned a digital card game into an esport. At this point, like we kind of just got to accept our fate here. Um, so I think like when that happens, the pro players are gonna, they're gonna drift to the tournaments that matter the most, that have that format,
Hmm.
that continue to, let them play the game. But again, like my concern is, so you're saying it's split of people who want it this way. I think your idea is actually really cool and could actually be like the evolution of Overwatch. But when does the evolution of Overwatch happen? Right?
As
Because
soon
it's
as Blizzard just announces their rule set for the qualifications that go into BlizzCon, that's as soon as it happens. They're analyzing all of these events. I can confirm after having worked with Blizzard so much that they watch everything. They probably watch the
Yep.
show. They have a couple CMs that they're probably required to listen to our sorry words that we put out every week. Sorry, thank you, I love
Yeah.
you. But yeah, no, they're in tune. They really are in tune, and they probably even talk to the pro players to get an idea. They have the connections with all the top teams, and just say, hey, the pros, the cons, have those conversations. I know they've done that with Heroes, and I would imagine it's very much the same for Overwatch, as they are like, yes, they've made an amazing game, but when it comes to the pro scene, they know that the experienced, seasoned veterans, guys that are putting their all of their time in to become the absolute best players, their opinions are valuable, and Blizzard respects that.
very
I would
true.
say that whatever they do, Blizzard does end up choosing, is that once it is actually important for a official format to be chosen as well, because
Oh yeah.
if there are, and there are different formats out right now, so if you'll be practicing, you can't just practice for one format. You have to practice. You have to practice for multiple formats because different tournaments have different rules. Like some have one hero limit, some have no hero limit. So you have to practice for both because the meta is different. It's not the same.
Right.
Because doubling up on heroes is actually incredibly strong. Like one Winston is okay, it's effective, but two Winstons can be quite a threat, which is
Yeah.
part of the whole argument here. In the past, the meta has been traditionally two of one hero, or even doubles of two heroes. Like for example, double. At one point it was double Zenyatta, double Genji. At one point it was double Zenyatta, double Tracer, and there's been at one point it was double Winston, double Reaper, double Lucio. Even recently, before one hero limit, it was on King of the Hills, for example. It was the double Winston, double Tracer, double Lucio was pretty popular, and there have been some variations of that too, but. I mean, there's one consistent trend. There's a lot of doubling up on characters. The doubling up on characters is really strong. So that's where a lot of the debate and conversation has come from. But like I said, it's important to choose a format so that teams can practice on that format and not have to practice for multiple formats.
Yeah, and then you're also going to get viewer fatigue as well, which is a problem that a lot of new competitive games have, especially when they're hot, like Overwatch. I mean, we all remember StarCraft, right? There was a tournament every week. Dota, there was a tournament every week. Now Overwatch is also having pretty much a tournament every week. But now you're talking about a tournament every week with new formats or different formats
It's hard
in
to
each
follow.
tournament. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, if I'm a fan of Overwatch, and even for me personally, like I'll be very real, like I want to cast Overwatch,
Yeah.
but I also just kind of want to get in once there's like stability.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, the last thing I want to do is commentate an event with one rule set, and then the next weekend commentate an event with another rule set. Like I said before, I'm not a smart guy. I'm decently smart, but like, I struggle, and remembering things is hard. Okay, Jake, so don't judge me. But like I just feel like we just need that. We need stability, and Overwatch Esports currently does not have that. It will not have that for quite some time now. But
Yeah, it'll take a little while. It's the natural progression of things, I think, especially when there's so many people just trying to get involved and make their own mark on the community. But just speaking of like events, like I just pulled up the ESL past tournament portal, basically, just to get an idea of what it looks like. And I'll zoom in here because it's pretty small. But a lot of these are country specific. So like France Cup, 74 teams. Like this is Ukraine, 34 team, or UK/Ireland. Excuse me, I read that as Ukraine. But the big cup, the Go For Overwatch that they do every weekend, they had 299 teams registered for this one. The first one had 368 teams sign up for it. That's just like their weekly series on the weekends. The pricing for it is minimal, to say the least. Like I think it's actually very small. Probably, I don't know. I think they might have a monthly for 1,500 euros or something. But then the same day, there's an NA event for Gosu that capped at 128 entrants. So that was full cap. So there's obviously a lot of people that are excited to play competitively. Yeah, 150 euros was the prize pool, and 300 teams signed up. That's insane, man.
That is pretty absurd. I actually wanted to go look at game battles because game battles operates a lot for console, but what I think is very interesting about it is Overwatch has been filling up tournaments quite a bit. So let me see here. I'm trying to see if I can find any past tournaments. So PS4's had a couple tournaments that just end. Like I know they did the kickoffs, and the kickoffs had like 256 teams in each game.
So it's
each platform.
Yeah, they're giving out $600.
And they also do PC tournaments too. Just an FYI, like they don't just do console tournaments. But yeah, there's a lot of places to play. One thing I will say though, and I'm very happy about it, is that they're keeping these prize pools very short, unless you're ESL, who then comes out of nowhere and announces some ridiculous prize pool. But like, because
you're talking about the Gamescom tournament,
yeah,
the 100K. Okay.
I mean, I think 100K is like way too much for this game this early.
Really?
Think so?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, look, I work in esports, and the worst thing that you could possibly do is come out the gate with because then you all right, just kind of like set the stage, okay? Call of Duty for many, many years was operating with tournaments that were ranging from 5K to 15K. The game wasn't big enough to support tournaments that can go bigger, right? Most tournaments would have 32 teams, then it will probably go up to 64 teams, right? And as that number rose, you started to see the money rise just a little bit more, right? 10Ks became very, very popular. You started to see, and this was like way back when, or by way back when, I mean like 3-4 years ago. So, which is kind of crazy how fast all this has evolved.
Yeah, that's a long time ago for esports.
It is. It's like a century. So because those events were going on, right? And once you had like a 15K tournament, it was like, oh, snap, $15,000. That is insane. Then Call of Duty Champs comes out of nowhere, COD XP, $1 million. So you jumped from $15,000 to $1 million, okay? At that point, all those like local smaller guys disappeared.
Yeah.
They just couldn't keep up with it, right? Because that's what the players were playing for. That was the most important thing. Then MLG came in and was like, all right, we're going to do, 50K, we're going to do 100K, right? And then more and more, those little grassroots guys that basically built the community just died. And it wasn't necessarily, it's not MLG's fault, it's not Activision's fault, it's marketing speak.
Well,
It's good.
wasn't MLG running a lot of these scuff like 5Ks and 10Ks like
Well, that was
online and stuff?
afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
And that's
afterwards.
definitely really healthy for the game. And I think Overwatch will still have that. And I think, like you mentioned, grassroots is critical for a game. That's one of the things Heroes doesn't have right now. It's one of the things that's hurting Heroes of the Storm a lot. Is the grassroots doesn't exist. It's literally non-existent.
Yeah.
And the game is dying in some regards due to that. It's really interesting to hear that more or less happened with Call of Duty as well, because
dude, it's in Halo had it even worse. I mean, now the only thing that players have to play for is a pro league.
that's awful. That's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that is the worst possible. And I've expressed my distaste for that quite a bit. I'm like, you need more grassroots. You need to allow these, because these games aren't big enough. Now, Overwatch, of course, is an outlier. Overwatch is a big game, so clearly it's going to succeed very well. But my fear is when you inject money into it. Another good example is Rocket League Championship Series, right? So I work on the RLCS.
It's
with
so
a couple,
fun to watch, man.
it is really cool. And one of the major things that we said when we were building this was we do not want to blow up this thing and make it impossible for Rocket League Central to exist, for Rocket League to exist, for the ESL Cups, Gfinity Cups, VVV Supersonics League, like all these events that happen for Rocket League on a weekly basis. We couldn't do it. So, yes, it is a substantial amount of money, but there's a lot to be played for. It's 75K. But when you think about Rocket League, that sold millions of copies, right? 75K actually sounds really small.
Yeah, it does.
You could easily do a $1 million tournament for Rocket League, and these guys would be huge. Like, marketing would pick it up right away. It's the reason why Smite dialed back. If you notice Smite World Championships this year, like they had me host it, and one of the things he told me not to mention was the prize pool, because they were like, we're not going to try and like pitch, international numbers. Think about the international; they can never go back. They could never go back. They have.
Right.
It has
You
to
can't
get
just be like,
bigger,
okay, well,
better.
this year's international is only going to be $1 million. People are like, wait, what? No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. My take on it is $100,000. I would have just done 50K, and that would have been okay.
So
But
I'm actually just
now-
curious about that, because we always talk about like the power of empowering the prize pool through crowdfunding, and obviously the international is the big example. And I think Smite had like 1.7 last year, and it was less this year. Is that what you're saying?
It was Smite actually was like 2 point something.
Oh, okay.
Or it was some ridiculous number. This year though, they just left it at like I think $1 million, because they spread the money across the season instead of front loading it onto this one event.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it actually works out very well. But then you think about Halo World Championship, which had a $2.5 million prize pool, right? Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Now the Halo World Championship goes into the Halo Pro League with $250,000, which is cool. What about the other? What's going on outside of that?
Right.
No.
It feels like,
Nothing.
It's like, oh, those guys that won that one time got all the money, and now we don't get anything to work towards.
Yeah,
I have a
and the
question.
players aren't going to do that. Go ahead.
I have a
Sorry.
question for you. Do you feel like the team size in Overwatch kind of gives it a little bit more merit to having larger prize pool tournaments? I mean, you mentioned the Rocket League one is a 75K tournament, right?
Yeah.
And that's Rocket League's 3v3, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Overwatch is 6v6, and yet it's only 25K more for a 100K tournament. Do you think that's
Very true.
Do you think that would compare?
But that's Rocket League's main event. This isn't BlizzCon.
Okay.
This is Gamescom. So
Okay.
But I mean, honestly, BlizzCon will probably be like 500K, if I had to guess. BlizzCon will probably be a 500K event.
And also keep in mind too,
If
the
not more.
75K is not for just the final. The 75K includes qualifier 1 and qualifier
that's
2.
so small that's so little compared
Oh, okay.
to.
So when you actually get there to the final, I believe it's like 45 or 50K.
Wow. Yeah.
So it is drastically different. Don't get me wrong, though. I understand what you're saying, and it does
Right.
make sense. I think that prize pool in most like what is this? 4 teams that will be competing in this tournament, right?
Gamescom.
Eight teams.
Yeah. Oh, it's 8 teams.
4 from NA,
Yeah,
4 from
there are.
Europe.
Yeah, I think there are qualifiers. There are 2 qualifiers, right? As
Yeah.
well.
And who gets paid out?
Probably
Top
top
4 or top 8?
Probably top 4.
Top 4.
Maybe top 8. I mean, actually, if it's 8 that are present live at the event, I would imagine top 8 get paid.
Yeah. So, well, then, yeah, maybe they pay them all for being there, or maybe they just pay their hotel or whatever. There's a lot of things that go into it. I obviously don't have a lot of information on it. There's many routes you could take with it. But basically, what I'm trying to get at is, like, you could still have it be equally as important with 50K, because you think about who are sponsoring these teams right now, and who's bringing in this money. The players are bringing this money for the orgs. Besides like Reunited, most of the top guys right now are actual organizations. And as soon as this thing kicks off, there's just going to be more orgs coming in. So truthfully, orgs kind of like offset that, right? Like prize money becomes less. It's still important, but it becomes about being the best more so more so about the money. But to the rest of the world, the money is what's important.
Yeah,
that's the thing that they see. That's the marketing.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, for players, I would say that for me personally, for me, it's not about the money. For me, it's about winning. It's about being the best. And I think for a lot of players, a lot of competitive players, especially a lot of the pro players, it isn't about the money. I mean, the money's great. It's a nice side. It's a nice bonus. Don't get me wrong, but it is about winning. It's about being as good as you can and winning those tournaments or winning those big matches. Just
speaking of some of the orgs, Blam's boys got picked up by I think Selfless is what they're called.
Yep.
I don't know much
team
about
in E-League as well.
Okay.
In Counter.
Wow.
For Counter-Strike. Yeah.
So they blew up really quick.
And then Splice picked up the Pure's team, Pure Clockwork Flame.
Yep.
Fine, I'll go McCree.
Really? They got picked up? Splice picked them up?
Yep. Hey, they were playing pretty well, man.
Yeah.
So that's
sound like you have some reservations about them.
I was watching them, man. They just seem to get really mad at each other a lot. I know I've known Clockwork for a while when I casted Shoot Mania.
Yeah.
Clockwork is a nasty player. I think Flame also played Shoot Mania as well. But it's just really funny, too, because I see a lot of these guys who were like rejected Quake TF2 players that played Shoot Mania. And now I can like hold it over their head that they're rejected Shoot Mania players. But now I'm a rejected Shoot Mania commentator. So it doesn't really make me that.
It's the dream, man. Everybody's a rejected FPS player.
Everyone's washed up.
Yeah. So what other teams? Could you link that? Because I want to see what other.
Yeah, this is just Liquipedia. I'll send you the link in 1 sec.
Yeah, so those are the 2 major signings for this week.
It's a big deal, though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, what's interesting, too, is one thing that a lot of some of the competitive communities talking about, too, is that it almost feels like there's more organizations than there are actually, stable, solid Overwatch teams right now. So it's almost there are a lot of orgs. I mean,
who doesn't have teams still? There's so many. We went through a few like last week, but it's like TSM, CLG, Dignitas, like Fnatic, Optic. Oh yeah. Then you go to the FPS like more specific teams like Optic that don't necessarily sponsor all esports. Like EG doesn't have a team, Alliance doesn't have a team. Like those are generic esports, but Optic Gaming is huge organization.
And they both have teams as well.
Optic won't get a team. I can almost guarantee you Optic won't get a team until it's like big enough.
Right. I mean, some are waiting.
Yeah, I think EG is the same boat as Optic.
Yes, some of these organizations aren't actually 100% looking right now or looking to pick up a team.
But if every week there's 100K viewers watching a tournament, then it's like then it's going to keep growing and growing and growing, and that's when you're going to see everybody be like, all right, yeah, we need a team. But other orgs like Envy, they're probably making bold offers to grab up these top players early just to invest in the potential future of the game. Like when you look at those Google trends we looked at, like there's reason to believe that it's going to be worth having a top team.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Envy like one of the teams, like one of the first teams along with Cloud9 and Luminosity to pick up Overwatch squads?
Yeah.
Like one of the first big orgs?
I think Envy was the first.
Oh, yeah, actually, yes. Envy was the first org. They picked up Tailspin, who's also a rejected Shoot Mania player. And also an incredible player, too, by the way. But
he's so good, man.
What I also find very interesting is the mixed rosters, though. That is like envy, knowing that most of them are European. Who is it? Like two guys are NA on that team, and like four of them are
One,
European. Or no, just Tailspins.
just Tailspin, the rest are
But
Euros.
they're all living in America. That's what
That's
They're all-
true.
counts.
yeah,
Live in North Carolina.
Yep.
yeah. The house is in North Carolina. I just think that is very, very compelling for a lot of these guys because they can clearly bring these dudes over to North America, and I'm sure a lot of these players would like to be in North America competing, because this is where a bulk of events are going to be taking place.
Yeah,
Of course,
it's gonna be a
making grand, assumptions here, right? But I mean, this is the land of Trump, so clearly we want to. Everyone wants to be here before the wall gets
They're here
built.
before we they're here before we build the wall, right?
But yeah,
no.
there's still rosters that have yet to be picked up. Looking at this list, there's still a lot of guys, and also just teams that I've never heard of before,
Oh yeah.
ever. Let me see here. Like Squash the Beef, God knows that team needs a pickup. Like, and then there are also some guys who are making names for themselves because of their Overwatch teams, like Gale Force. I had never heard of Gale Force before this. I know they have a Heroes of the Storm team.
They're a young
right?
org, but they're making moves, man. They really are, and their team played super well this past weekend, and
Yep.
they got
Yeah.
top 4. So
Yeah, Gale Force has been a pretty decent team too. They've always been in the mix, and back before when they're Code 7, they were really strong too. Back during the Zenyatta, Genji, Tracer, quote unquote cancer comp days.
but Harblue is no longer with Gale Force, which
Correct.
yeah. So
By the way, May is Trump's favorite hero.
I saw that in chat.
Yeah.
So funny. I built a wall.
Make America great again.
Oh God, it's so good. I don't know. There's just a lot, certainly, that it can be said about where the direction of these teams are going to go. But I would say, as far as like how these orgs affect events, and is another thing a lot of people really don't think about, right? When you talk about most of these events, and Jake and Spo, you were a player, so you know this. Guess what? Your flights paid for by the TO, right? Or
Yeah,
paid
most,
for by your
yes.
org.
Usually.
a good
If you
org.
have a good one, yes. If you have a normal contract, yes.
If you have a good TO, flights are paid for. If you or org, if you have a bad one, clearly not. But when you talk about these kinds of events, especially ones at Gamescom, ESL is going to be paying for the
They're
flight.
flying you out. Yeah, BlizzCon, you're
Right.
getting flown out. Like it's
Yep.
They're
BlizzCon.
paying the hotel.
hospitality, everything. Yeah, it's
They're
Yeah.
feeding you. So prize money becomes less and less important, right? And what it really boils down to is winning the event and being better than everyone else. which I'm sure-
personality too. Like just being a well-liked team with a fan base. Like if there's a lot of
Or
like,
even not well liked.
well,
I mean, some
regardless,
people
as
can go-
long
some
as
people can
as
play
long
the
as you're
villain, but
as long as
you're
people
interesting.
want to see you at the event and like people care about you, then you have value to your sponsor, right? Because
Yep.
that's reach. And we saw this with a lot of StarCraft players for a long time. These guys weren't winning events, but they had reach, like EG players. I'm not gonna.
Yep.
Like, you guys can pick a million examples, honestly. And they might not have gotten first, but if they performed, you just wanted to see how well they could do. Like I remember one event where It
Or
Control
see
got
them
like
beat X player.
yeah, he got like top 4, and it's like everyone's like, "Whoa!" And
Yeah.
for a long time, people are like, "Why is this guy sponsored still? Like he's not winning anything." But people like him, people care about
Yeah.
him, people want to cheer for him, and that's valuable. So it's cool
Yeah.
how it's all developed. I mean, it's almost like being a NASCAR driver where you have all these different brands that pay for you to do what you do, but you might not always win. Sure, you get a big boost if you win, but
I'm sure everyone wants to win, right? But to kind of reference my days of Call of Duty, Optic Gaming, which you mentioned before, it's funny to hear from the perspective of someone who isn't necessarily involved in the community. But there was just a time where Optic Gaming were awful.
They were booty.
They
Dude.
were the worst Call of Duty team
Really?
in the pro scene. And it wasn't because they were bad players, but it was just because lack of drive. They were more focused on content creation than they were on
Right.
performing at events. So a lot of that really drove
dude,
their
I
performance.
was at MLG working on Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, that's right.
For a good, I think I did Call of Duty specifically for probably 6 months, and that's when Optic was just like not getting results. And every once in a while they would perform, and the viewership would be so much better because this was an MLG TV was a little baby. There They were trying to
Right.
take it
Yeah.
off, and whenever Optic won, they were like, "Whew," and then Optic gets knocked out of the bracket, viewership's half. It's like we're like, no,
Dude, we used to call it it's the same way in Halo. Crashes in the chat, so you can attest to it. It's the same way in Halo. Optic shows up and plays because they're going through the same problem right now. Numbers double, and everyone's like, "Yeah, let's go, man! Halo's doing this. We're back. We're alive again." And then they lose, and then dipped, like it's gone.
It's so
And
funny, dude. It's good.
It's they have such a drive. But to kind of like touch on a point you were making, you know, that is like the power of the brand, right? And that is the power of the players. They drive that. And that's another reason why, if you look at like League of Legends, my insight into that is very minimal. But
Right.
when you see when CLG and TSM play each other,
Yeah.
it's huge.
Yeah.
It's
Rivalry.
a big deal.
Yankees and Red
Or
Sox.
Heroes of the Storm, when that Cloud9 roster from BlizzCon last year, I enjoyed watching them play. And I don't even play Heroes of the Storm that much just because I like Dunk Train. I just thought he was awesome. Or Drunk Train or Dunk Train? Dunk Train.
It's Dunk Train.
Dunk Train. I got it right the first time. Now I sound like an idiot.
Drunk Train would be a good name. I
Yeah.
actually cast a game where Dunk Train was on one team and Drunk Truck was on the other team. It was the hardest cast of my life.
That's
I wonder if they
terrible.
do that just to mess with you guys sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
dude.
troll.
One time I casted, and one of the players, his name, because one of the players' name was APG on the other team, and then his name's Lethal, but like his gamer tag was APG is not good or something like that, and it was an online match, and that was his Xbox Live gamer tag. So he paid money for this account, which I think is the funniest thing.
Oh, no.
It's his friend. So I'm casting it, and I'm like, APG. Lethal's going for it. I was like, son of a bitch, Lethal, you're on the other team. APG's on this team. Dude, it was so bad. It was so bad.
That's
Anyway,
amazing.
yeah, but like, you know, that really matters. I remember being at BlizzCon last year watching, and that's actually when I ran into you, Jake, watching all the Heroes matches because I thought the game was so cool. Still think it's cool to this day.
Yeah.
And seeing how that C9 roster, everyone loved them so much. And them winning was even better, but like
They just disbanded last week. Ripperoni.
I know, I heard, man, ripping
Speaking of-
pepperonis, bro. But yeah, I just think that, you know, like the power of the brand, and that is the thing that's really going to drive a lot of these players. It's why, like, I want to watch a tournament when Siegel's playing because it's Siegel and he's nasty.
Yeah.
You know.
It's true.
I want to watch when Tailspin's playing because he's disgusting. I wish he streamed more, but you know, like I'm a fan of him, and all that stuff is super important. I hope a lot of these Overwatch players really think about building their brands, and I hope the orgs are pushing them in that direction as well.
Time will tell. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens with the growth of the game, the viewership of the game, the power of the individual. Being a 6v6, it's still going to be about having an all-star. I mean, in sports, you have your all-stars in every team, and I think it'll be very much the same here with Overwatch. Your nade shots, etc. as we move forward. Obviously, Scump and, you know, a lot of those other guys have made names for themselves as well. And that had to have been hard for him with, you know, walking in the shadow of Nade Shot, who's just a monster in terms of his reach for fans. But unfortunately, we are at that time limit, friends. So we are now transitioning to shout outs. And the first shout out I'm going to give is to you, Golden Boy. Thanks so much for making the time. But
I hope I didn't. I think I talked too much. I'm sorry.
dude, that's what guests are for. If our guests aren't talking, that's a problem. If the guests are
Right.
talking too much, that's a good thing. Because there's
Okay.
no such thing as too much, because that's why we bring you guys on the show. But Spo, take away the shout outs, man.
Oh, they should Golden Boy first.
No, I gave him a personal shout out before.
Oh,
I got two?
okay. Well then. Yeah. Look at Golden Boy shout out too. Yeah. Good job, man. Thumbs up. Sticker 8.0. No, 10.0. There we go. Do 10 out of 10.
6.5 out of 10.
Right. Yeah. So you can catch me on Twitter and YouTube as Team Spo. I have Scrim VODs with Raw Scrim VODs and montages and stuff on there for Overwatch. And you can follow me on Twitch as well at Spo TV.
Sweet. Gold Boy, take it away.
My turn. Well, thank you for having me, guys. This is the first Overwatch thing I did that wasn't the sales activation at the Twitch office. where I felt like I did a horrendous job, but I had fun. And I hope that I get to do a little bit more Overwatch down the line. For those of you guys who are watching, or I don't know if this goes in a podcast format as well, but for those of you guys who are watching, listening, whatever, you can check me out on my stream, Golden Boy FTW. It's really easy to find me. You just search it on our new Twitch search thingamajigums, and it'll my name will pop up. Also, I'm posting up videos now too, so you can check me out there at YouTube, Golden Boy FTW.
I thought you said nude Twitch, for example. I was like, wait, what?
We don't talk about the nude Twitch.
That engineers are working on.
I don't remember them having that.
Nude Twitch will be a thing in 2022.
Can you give us a what face before we let you go? Beautiful.
I get it like all the time. It's
a requirement of appearance.
I was at TwitchCon going down an escalator. Yo, man, you're the what face guy, right? I was like, fuck, come on, man. I entertain millions across the world, commentated some of the biggest events. Come on.
You're just what face.
I'm just what face.
Golden what face boy.
That's right. Golden what face boy. Oh no, my mic broke.
Your head.
Hold on. Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
He's alive. He's plugging him back in, and he's living. Well, Golden Boy, once again, thank you so much for joining us this week, Spo. It's been a pleasure. Joshy, we miss you dearly. Hopefully he's having a good time at E3. I think he's actually like obsing the event where they have Cloud9 playing. It's like a Face It TV Overwatch exhibition thing. I haven't had much time to watch it. There's just
are they running the T-Mobile? Is there like a T-Mobile booth there or something?
It is T-Mobile too. It's like Face It's running the broadcast, but it's T-Mobile. It's okay. I don't know. But there's so much news with all the E3 announcements, and then the Heroes Global Championship was going on this week, so it's like I've watched very little of the actual E3 content. I just go through Reddit and like watch all the trailers myself.
Ooh, real quick for both of you, favorite game from E3? Anything?
Oh man,
one game. Just name it.
Overwatch.
Oh my god!
New announcements. This is so hard. I can't do this quick.
There are a lot of games.
Sea of Thieves.
Oh, that looks. Is that an actual MMO? What's the scope of that? I watched the trailer.
No,
it looks cool.
I just want to be a pirate, get drunk, and then just beat people up. That's all I want to do.
I'll have
which is like an extension of my life.
I honestly don't know. So.
No, because you're so dedicated to Overwatch, Spell.
That's right.
All right. Live that life.
I'm gonna cop out and say Sea of Thieves as well, just because like that's the most compelling game I saw. There were some games Battlefield 1 is the only other one, but it's already been announced. But Battlefield 1 looks so breathtakingly good. All right, I guess I should actually just give my shout outs. Guys, you can follow me Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere, anything. I even have a Snapchat now at SolidJGG. Don't add me on Snapchat, please. And
you're gonna get
thanks so much.
Invitations now.
Yeah, right. Probably not. But moving forward, obviously we might actually be doing our first ever like 5-person show. Usually with Joshy, we have 4 people on the panel. The 3 people panels are really fun. We're considering doing a 5 with like 2 pros that might debate a little bit about topics around the game and like compositions and so on and so forth. Might try some new things just to keep it fresh and do some fun stuff. I am actually casting the King of the Watch yesterday with Jonasar, and I can actually tweet out. I actually already tweeted it once. The URL it's on stream.me for the actual broadcast, and that's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that'll be I guess my second time casting Overwatch. Should be a lot of fun. And bam, check that out. Follow me on Twitter for all the updates regarding that. And that does it here for episode. I guess this is episode 12. I didn't update the graphic. It said 11 this whole episode. I'm just terrible. But this is totally episode 12. Yeah. Oops.
And also on off topic, I also think Golden Boy's background swapped again.
Yeah, no, I checked. It was incorrect to the stream. For some reason, you guys are seeing it the correct way, and in my end, I see it backwards.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing for me, too, so.
Oh, man.
So funny.
Webcams.
It's all good. Webcams are fun. Skype is a great program, guys. This program brought to you by Skype. All right.
Did I say I'm casting yesterday?
Did you say you were casting yesterday?
I'm casting tomorrow. I'm not casting yesterday. Well, that's how we know it's time to go eat dinner. GG's, ladies and gentlemen. Golden Boy Spo. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.